Behind me is the 2014 Mark 6 Golf GTI Driver's Edition, and I have a very mixed feelings about it. This Mark 6 Golf GTI is one of the last ever made before Mark 7 took over and introduced a new MQB platform. A turbocharged hot hatch, 6-speed DSG gearbox, 2 real exhaust pipes, no fakery here, and the legendary GTI badge. Sounds like the perfect car, right? Well, that's what I thought until I started digging deeper and, you guessed it, fixing it. This car is hot. I always wanted a Golf GTI or a Golf R. For me, it's like a wolf in sheep clothing, because for most people it's just another ordinary Golf. But for people who know at least tiny bit about cars, they know it's not a typical 1.6 TDI grocery car. In my opinion, 6th generation is one of the best looking GTIs. Yes, I totally agree that Mark 7 is the king and it looks much sharper. This car is quite round, like Mark 5 GTI, but it has some sharp lines here and there. For me, Mark 6 GTI looks very similar to Mark 7, but it decided to eat some pizzas, hamburgers and ice cream for the last 3 months, and somehow I find this attractive.
Ballerina cappuccino.
And I know that the majority of you folks would say that Mark II and Mark V are the best looking Golfs, but personally, I don't agree with you. Don't get me wrong, they look very nice, but they don't have 2 separate exhaust pipes at the back. They don't have a fancy LED daytime running lights that look like an eyeliner. They don't have adaptive cornering xenon lights. And they don't have a bumper and fog lights that are inspired by Vampire Diaries. Like seriously, look at those things. This car is not only sucking blood, but owner's money. These wheels are actually from Mark 8 Golf GTI, and I think that they suit this car quite well, like they belong here. Like it's supposed to be that way. I still have the original winter tires, but they look quite nasty. Here's the photo somewhere here. And I promise it's not me who ruined them, it's the previous owner. This was the first generation of Golf GTI to receive a fancy differential lock. It's still electrical, but it mimics the real mechanical LSD quite well. And what it does is simply manages the braking force on the one or the other wheel, and then it feels like you're having a real LSD. This generation of GTI could also be equipped with adaptive cruise control, dynamic chassis control, and a parking assist, which you don't really need if you know how to drive. And I hope you know how to drive. Mark 6 GTI is a mix of new and old tech. If you didn't know, this is basically a Mark 5 Golf. It has the same platform, the same pillars, and only some body panels and new headlights and tail lights are fitted to this car. But basically it's a Mark 5. But you receive a newer engine, EA888, which is technically the same engine as in Mark 7 and Mark 8 GTI. But if we speak about US market, Golf 6 in USA received first generation of this engine, and this car has the first generation, and European models of GTI received second generation of this engine. There are already 5 generations of the same engine. Can you imagine? For people saying that Golf GTIs in general don't have enough power, it's not only about power. You don't need a 800 horsepower car to enjoy modern cars and even older cars. 200 something horsepower is more than enough to have fun on a back road. So I don't get it. And mostly these are American content creators who say this crap. Oh, this car is slow. Oh, 200 horsepower is not enough. Oh, this is a slow car. Oh, 2-liter engine is such a small engine. Shut up. If you really love cars and you know how to drive, trust me, 200 something horsepower and a nice back road is more than enough to have fun. You don't need a 6, 7 or 800 horsepower car to consider yourself a car person. There's no sense in having this car if you just want to have a nice drive on a back road like I have right now. You would actually have more fun in this than in that car. If we speak, for example, a modified M5 or a C63S. I think that majority of people who speak only about horsepower, they don't really care about cars. They only care about the number, the figure. Oh, the fact that they have a 600 horsepower car. They don't really like cars. They just want to brag about the number. That's it. So stop it. Get some help. What is also very nice about Golf GTIs in general is that you get basically 2 cars in one. You can have a very comfortable drive like we have right now, or you can blast the shit out of this crap like I just did a few minutes ago. When Mark 5 was introduced, people complained that the interior quality was not at the level, especially because they were comparing it to Mark 4, and Mark 4's interior, it was on another level. It was over the roof. It was so good that Mercedes postponed the release of C-Class because they feared that the quality of C-Class, the interior quality, would not be as good as in a Volkswagen Golf. Can you imagine? So yeah, going back to Mark 6, when they released this car, they addressed the interior quality issue, and here everything's good. The plastics are soft, the leather is very nice on the seats, on the steering wheel, and almost no rattling and cheap plastic can be found in this cabin. This is a very, very lovely interior. My car has leather seats, and I know that a lot of GTI fans, they love the clove seats because they have this legendary pattern that is special to Volkswagen Golf GTIs. But I have leather seats, and I don't complain. I love them. The leather is quite nice. It's squishy. It feels premium enough for a Golf. The only thing is that they lack a bit of lateral support at the top, but you only notice it when you send this car like a lunatic. Everything's lovely. The steering wheel is nice. It's perforated at the top and bottom. It's a great interior. Infotainment system of this car is quite interesting, to be honest, because it aged quite well. The graphics are okay, especially if we consider the fact that it's an old infotainment system. Everything works fine. But what is very funny is that a lot of things can be done through touchscreen and buttons, physical buttons at the same time. So for example, right now I can press options on the screen itself, and if I go back, I can use a physical button to press options. it's a flex these days, because if we speak about Golf, Mark 8 Golf, a lot of things happen through the screen. You don't have a lot of buttons. And it's a shame, to be honest, because we all know what cost cutting is. And it's quite stupid, and it's actually quite risky for your life, because when you have a real physical button, you know where it is located, and you can press this button if you have this car, for example, for a very long time without even looking at it. But when you have the screen, you need to constantly glance at your screen to look for a menu or a sub-menu or sub-sub-menu to change one or the other setting. And that's stupid. Yeah, I understand that manufacturers try to make as much money as possible because we live in a capitalism world, and it's okay. But it's not okay to risk our lives. So it's a flex to have buttons these days. And it's double flex to have a touchscreen and buttons at the same time. That's quite cool. So how's that, Mark 8 Golf owners? GTI badge plays a very important role in car world. It's an icon, and the car that established a hot hatch segment is, you guessed it, Volkswagen Golf GTI. It was presented to the public in 1975 at Frankfurt Motor Show, and people loved it. It proved that you didn't need a big engine or a sports car body to have fun. Just a light hatchback, a revvy engine, sharp handling, and everyday usability. It was, and still is, the Porsche 911 of the working man. Fast, fun, but with room for your groceries and your dog. 2 years before, when I was looking for a new car, this one caught my eye. 2014 model, 123,000 kilometers on the dash, and an adequate price. It had some rust on the right side doors, both of them, the fender as well, and of course a check engine light. Typical Volkswagen.
Das Auto.
However, after a quick inspection at the workshop and the lower price that the seller agreed on, I decided, oh, a huge B. I decided to go for it, and I bought it.
Was there a huge B?
Yeah. At the time, it seemed that if I would fix the rust issue and the turbo, I would have a perfect GTI. But I was simply naive. I was so excited when I bought this car. So immediately I decided to change all of the possible fluids, service a fun but demanding DSG gearbox, change the spark plugs, PCV valve, etc. So I already invested a few €100 in this car in the first weeks. Then I decided to check what's going on with the turbo. I had a very typical issue for this generation of Golf GTI, P0299, turbo underboost issue. These cars suffer from rattling wastegate, and I thought I had the same issue. And I was quite scared about it because it could mean a lot of money, but I was lucky, and the only thing I needed is to clean the turbo, and the check engine light was gone, at least for a moment.
Entering average speed zone.
It's quick enough. It's definitely quick enough. Then, after making this car mechanically perfect, I decided to address the rust issue. And the previous owner, the seller, he admitted that the job was not done, how should I say, in the best possible way. But it was horrible. The car was not fully symmetrical, and I decided to make it symmetrical again, because I like things to be perfect. So yeah, I didn't mention the fact that this car was imported from US in 2018 or 2019, and as almost every car that was imported from US to Europe, it was damaged. It was an auction car. In the US, this car was hit somewhere around this area, and because the previous owner didn't do the job properly, the right doors were rubbing against each other in this area. So what we had to do, we pulled the A and B pillar. I mean, not me, the shop did. We also welded a new seal, and the whole car was resprayed from bumper to bumper on the right side. And now everything's perfect and the same as on the left side, as it's supposed to be. Now you can say that this is totally my problem, that I bought a car that was in an accident and didn't check it properly. And I totally agree with you. But here's the thing about Volkswagens from that era. They love to rust. So I spotted some rust here. Now this place is covered in a protective film after painting it. As well as here, same stuff, paint job, protective film, and on the trunk too. And if you don't address the rust issue on these Volkswagens, the rust spreads like a bacteria in a domestic. It's horrible. And you know, these issues are not related to the fact that this car was in an accident. And I was very surprised to know that a German car can rust as fast as a Japanese car. But that wasn't all. I can speak for hours about the issues this car had, so I will just make a separate video about it. But long story short, I had to do carbon buildup procedure on this engine, install new timing chain and tensioner. Yeah, I also had to install a new oil pan on this car, and it's even not the end of the whole story. To be honest with you, I don't really know if all of this stress and spending money on this car was really worth it, but I just love this car. It puts a smile on my face when I drive it. I can't imagine how Range Rover owners live with their cars, because if fixing a Golf was pain in the ass, fixing a Range Rover is probably 10 times worse than that. At this point, I should already just bought shares in Volkswagen, but I can't go back in time, and instead of buying shares, I bought some bunch of metal and plastic parts for this car, and somehow it doesn't feel very bad. 1 year ago, I was even considering selling this car, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I became attached to this car and I really like it. A few years ago, I filmed a review of a mint condition Audi TT. It was a 2009 model, and technically that car is the same as Mark 5 or Mark 6 Golf or an Audi A3. So because I like this car, but I wanted something more practical, road led me to this. But I expected something more reliable. But once you address all of the issues this generation of GTI has, this car is perfect. Jeremy Clarkson, the guy from Top Gear, praised the Golf GTI, and he even had one. A lot of rich people who collect Lambos and Ferraris, they have a daily driver or Golf GTI or Golf R, because it's a nice, reliable, sporty car. If you consider cars more than just a way of transporting your from point A to point B, you will definitely enjoy Golf GTI. It's a nice intro car to a beautiful car world. Thanks for watching this corny video of mine, and make sure to subscribe.